Our ninjas are still marked.
This title screen will change eventually, but not on this mission yet.
Use the breathing techniques I taught you. They will ease the pain. Let me tell you the story of the ink. And of
please
the
do.
champions who came before you. Before the Restoration, as the other clans strayed and disbanded, a merchant sold us a secret. He led us
I
to a
love
flower whose
this
petals
cutscene
burned
especially
toxic
because it implies that
put the
even
toxins in your
this,
skin.
obscure Japanese clan still had access to Middle Eastern
Those
merchants.
powers will drag you into madness. That is why every champion vows to end his own life before he destroys himself. And the clan he swore to protect.
Yeah, taking the ink is basically a suicide
Must
pact.
act quickly.
Wow.
Count Karajan is the head of Hessian services. He is responsible for the attack on our clan. His tower stands behind ring upon ring of security. You must kill him before he can attack again.
I love the idea that we're fighting a corporation. Also, look at the parallax scrolling on that background.
Well done, boys.
Between the background and the foreground, there are 20 layers of art in each level.
What?
And all of them have individual relative parallax scrolling.
These buildings are protected by high-tech tripwires, but you can wrap them all with a simple bamboo dart.
Hey, who let that spare period in? So yeah, the thick laser wires are instant death,
Transformer should be nearby.
and the thin
You'll bring down all
lasers
the
there will simply raise an alarm if you pass through them. But if you hide
Okay.
behind a pot or a plant, you can go through them.
Watch. The alarms switch off when the guard walks past them. Or when it's dragged past them.
Yeah, so there's a good instance of where you can stack grapple points in focus mode. That's another seal that we have here. There are 20 lights that we have to destroy. So yeah, they have some sort of nano chip, the guards, that allows them to
Nano machines, son.
more like nano chips, like tiny things in their bodies. But soldiers will not they won't recognize certain events like the power being cut. They'll recognize lights turning off or on, but they won't see, for instance, if you disable the power on lasers. I guess
they won't realize that the lasers are out.
Yeah. So this is weird. The one of the seals is to reach the transformer that we need in 1 minute. So I'm actually going to be showing two different takes here. So this is the first take where I actually got the seal, and I was able to reach the transformer in under 60 seconds. But that take, it was a take I didn't like, but then when I tried it again, I didn't realize that, I didn't realize at this point that the game auto-saves whenever you get a seal. And I had already liked the take that I had previously gotten, so I got over here and activated the checkpoint. I was like, wait, why didn't I get the seal? I already got the seal.
Huh.
I was like, what's going on? But, well, never mind. Alright, so let's, so we still have to backtrack anyway, to grab a couple of things, and also to, destroy some lights. Also do mechanic. That dumpster over there. We can hide bodies in it. We can hide ourselves, or we can hide up to one body. Yep, you can only hide one body at a time. Although it counts individually, probably per guard. So
Okay,
you can
so
still
even though the
choose
body's
points there.
sitting there, you've hit him.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of like really good mechanics that this game has taken from other stealth games, which I appreciate. And of course, Tenshu is probably the biggest influence.
Seems like an equipment failure all over the grid. The repair crew is looking at it now.
Damn it! The one time that the repair guys are actually on time. Steve did not anticipate this. Well, we got a new item.
Firecrackers.
Remember, if a guard is blocking your way, you can try to distract him.
Now, this is a little weird. I threw the noise cracker. It was within range, but it apparently didn't count. Thankfully, when you're in this tutorial section, the noisemaker has infinite ammo. Though, as soon as you throw that first noisemaker, it takes away your infinite ammo. Though there is a neat mechanic involving the ammo, which we'll be seeing a little later. Yep, that totally looks safe.
Oh, yeah.
Now we got extra test out of our focus mode here. Well done, Steve.
Multi-billion-dollar corporation are still using suicide plugs to plug shit in.
What can I say? Karajan is cheap. Hey, go look at that thing over there. There's nobody here, I promise.
Surprise!
This looks new. So, from now on, one of the Hessian scrolls will be hidden in this little challenge room. They usually involve boxes and lasers and switches, I've noticed. Or some combination thereof. So there's a box at the top here. And no, the lights here in this challenge room do not count. Unfortunately, I was very
just about
disappointed.
to say.
So yeah, we got this box, and we got to bring it over and block the lasers that are over on that other side. So first we're going to hit the switch over here. And slowly drag the box over. And this box is going to actually block the lasers over here so that we can cross and get up onto the other side. Although the drag mechanic is a little iffy on occasion. The platforming in this game is definitely optimized for stealth and not for actual jumping puzzles.
Yeah.
And unfortunately they did not fix that in the remastered version.
Let me tell you the stories of the birth of the mighty Hisomu clan, from the time of our first and greatest master, Tetsuji.
I tremble before Tetsuji, greatest ninja of Clan Hisomu.
Uh-oh. Run! Alright. We're clear. And we got two guards over here. I'm not entirely sure why they put guards here. It's like they don't serve too much of a purpose. They're not really introducing anything new. It's like, you just needed more enemies to kill, I guess. Yeah, and as I mentioned in the previous video, there are non-lethal ways to deal with enemies, but they required items that we won't be seeing for a while yet. For now, the only real way to deal with enemies non-lethally is just avoiding them entirely.
So there's got to be a completely non-lethal runs of this game.
There's one enemy that is a required kill, but if you have a particular non-lethal weapon, you can take them out non-lethally, and the game just pretends you kill them for the purposes of the story, but it won't count against your score.
Gotcha.
The blackout is working. While the guards fuss over that, we can slip right by them.
Pardon me? I love this game's the animation, especially. Sometimes it has a little problem with the priority of the B button, especially when there's a body next to a hiding spot. Oh yeah, I completely forgot to mention that this game's developer is a Vancouver-based developer named Clay Entertainment. They previously worked on a brawler called Shank, which has a similar art style to this. I've heard decent things about it. But they're best known for, you know, a small little game that you might have heard of called Don't Starve.
Oh!
Yep, that was them. That was their big break after this game.
You know, I was trying to figure out what the art style kind of reminded me of.
Yeah, Shank is also very similar to this. It's basically like a professional version of Newgrounds. Yeah, it's like Newgrounds with effort, essentially.
Alien Hominid for the PS2 apparently does not count.
Well, Alien Hominid for the PS2, and I'm actually more familiar with the GBA version, but that was like trying to evoke the amateur aesthetic. Also, when you're running and exposed to the light, there's a brief second where enemies will be aware of your position and investigate, and as long as you don't stay in that light for too long, you won't actually go into alert. You just have to be on the move constantly. It's set up so you can't quite cheese the AI, but it's still a decent push and pull system, I feel.
Yeah, it's fair. It's not super brutal.
It gets fairly brutal once you're caught, though. Like, this game is not designed to be played as an action game at all. Like, we have 4 points of health. Most enemies have automatic assault rifle fire, and each of their assault rifle bullets does 1 point of damage.
Yeah, so you're not gonna take that on the chin.
Yeah, there's a late game item where you can I think get up to 6 or 7 HP, and that's enough to be considered game breaking.
A man in black rags was spotted on the ground.
I don't know how he spotted him, considering he's never been caught, but I don't know.
I've been destroying the lights. I should have been destroying the cameras.
Well, they're in one of the parallax backgrounds.
Master accepts any student with the wit to uncover him.
That doesn't sound like Sinister foreshadowing at all.
There's only two things ninjas are good at: murder and sinister foreshadowing. You gotta let them have it.
Hessian's troops are scouring the grounds, but we can sail right over them. Meet me on the roof.
To keep from overloading the grid, we gotta turn the power back on one floor at a time. I'm turning the power for the 15th floor back on.
So this is this level's major gimmick, is that the power is scripted to turn back on at certain points, and you don't have that. You don't have that much control over when the power gets turned back on. The main timing challenge comes from, like, for instance, if I hadn't stayed here and if I had not destroyed those lights, they would have come back on with the power. It's basically all timed based on when you hear those voice actors. And apparently there was a guard on the other side. I had forgotten that. So, oops. Anyway, we destroyed enough lights. Good for you, Steve.
Bravo, Steve.
Well, he always was a kidder. The power for the next floor doesn't actually turn on. That's scripted for the 60th floor until you actually approach it. And of course, they keep escalating it. Enemy's cone of vision is very much determined by that cone you actually see there. Although they are also able to see if you're exposed in lights. Also...
Hey! Knock knock!
That brief time also works through doors when it comes to enemies that are alerted without actually sounding the alarm. It's tough to pull off, but it's doable.
You're almost there. So is the repair crew. Keep moving.
So here's another thing. Because their code of vision is so restricted, Steve's jumping height is just high enough to the point where if there are certain grapples over there, you can sail right over their heads. But again, it's actually much harder than it looks because you have to be really strict with the timing, and you have to be on the right grapple point as well.
You're almost at the roof.
Turning the power back on for 19.
So yeah, here I have that. He was not going to be able to see that body because it's out of that very strict code of vision that he has, and it's all because of the 2D stealth plane. They apparently play tested quite a few different stealth mechanics, and they found that this system with all of the visual representations of stealth very clearly outlined was the best way to make like a fleshed out stealth game work in 2D.
Smoke breaks over. Back to work.
Yeah, you can also hide bodies by throwing them into bottomless pits.
It's raining men, apparently.
Hallelujah.
Glint of shuriken reflects as fear in the eyes of Tetsuji's prey.
Apparently there were also going to be 3 modes of running, like in Metal Gear, where it's sneaking, walking, and running, but apparently it didn't playtest very well in 2D, so they just have walking and running.
We made it into the complex. This way.
The director's commentary really is very interesting, and it's one of the best additions, I think, to what was originally the special edition DLC, and then eventually just came bundled in straight with the remastered version.
Yeah, it's always fun to kind of get inside the developer's head. You know, it's a feature that I really appreciate when they do a director's cut of a game.
Yeah, there's also a second campaign, which we won't be playing quite yet. I haven't quite determined when we're going to start that, but it's going to be interesting once it happens.